Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Relationship Rhetoric. I'm your host, Unapologetically Angela, and today is a terrific Tuesday. I have been chasing this couple down now, I think, since December, because again, the young lady is one of Memphis' own. And every time I've seen her out in the world, she's always been supporting our artists, always creating a platform for voices to be heard, musicians to be heard, poets to be exposed. And so, like I told them, to see her in a whole nother light, glowing, bubbling, can't stop smiling. I was like, I want to know where this came from. And I've just had the opportunity to meet him, and I can see why. I'm so excited to hear their story. So, ladies and gentlemen, please let's join David and Tundrea Brock. Hey.
Hello.
Hi. See, look at the smile. The cheeks, they have not come down, y'all.
Oh, they won't. Oh my gosh.
It's okay. It's okay. So it is so good.
I'm happy. And these baby locks trying to work some stuff out. Oh goodness. Okay. Yep. Things have changed, as you know.
Things have changed.
Things have changed.
Oh yes.
Since we started dating.
Let's start. So let's do this because a lot of the viewers are from Memphis. So David, talk to us about where you're from.
Ooh. Baby, how long is this interview?
We're gonna have to try to shorten this up. First of all, I was born in the Philippines. So my dad was in the Air Force for 24 years. Matter of fact, if you look behind, this is perfect backdrop. I didn't think about it. So these are from Ankara, Turkey. So when I was 10, 11, 12, the 2-year period, we lived in Ankara, Turkey.
Okay.
And so I have grown up in different parts of the world and the country. Now, when I was 5, we moved to D'Iberville, Mississippi. So I grew up on the coast in Biloxi from 5 till 10. Then we were in Turkey, and then we came back to the coast, and I did 7th, 8th, and 9th in D'Iberville and Biloxi, and then we came up here. So in 93, I think it was 93, 92, 93, something like that. In the early 90s, I moved here. Matter of fact, let's see. It would be June 10th, 1993.
Okay.
It would be when I moved to Memphis. And so I've been here ever since. And it's been one of those things where I grew up moving so much that I absolutely did not want to stay in one place. Like I told her when we first started dating, like there was no doubt in my mind that I had no desire to stay in Memphis. You know, like long term, my goal is to get out of here. But I still have a teenage daughter. Well, oh goodness,
she's almost a teenager.
So our youngest is 12 and turns 13 on the 30th.
Wow.
So, yes. So we got about 5 or 6 more years, and then we can kind of do, if we want to explore the world, we can.
Okay.
But like I've always had that weird dream of like getting an RV and like just traveling and being like a camp host at different places along the way and just kind of getting to know the world a little bit more.
And I'm a good passenger.
Yeah. It's not one of those things you want to do alone. So it is something that I've always I've always liked the idea. But so I've lived different places. Let's see. But yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So he's been around the world and back.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, Tundrea, you are Memphis born and raised, correct?
Nope.
No.
Remember, it's been a minute, but I'm from Greenville, Mississippi. Original Mississippi girl.
Are a Mississippi girl. Yes, you are.
Yeah, I will always say that. I'm always gonna be a Mississippi girl, always. And I came up here after I graduated high school to go to college. That was back in '88. So when I started school, he's laughing because I graduated high school and started college in '88, and in '88 he was only what 10.
All I know is this: when I was
10 years
born, you were
old.
in the 3rd grade. That's straight up how it works.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, baby, it's thick.
I love it.
But
I was born in '70. He was born in '78.
it's weird. Like one of the things that we talked about one day. First of all, black don't crack. All right, so she looks way younger than I do. We'll be out public and people will make comments about that. I am reminded on a regular basis that I look older than she does. So I mean, I get it, and she holds her age beautifully, and so does her mama. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh, my mom just turned 70. You couldn't think that, honey. She's just
No, that whole sisters
everywhere.
thing, like they could really pull off sisters in public.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. That's okay. So now talk to me about how you met.
You so funny.
Jesus.
You're laughing, but it's true. We go to church together.
All right, so I had a friend, and a friend invited me to church, and I had I had come out of a divorce, and so because of the divorce, it was doing a lot of things religiously for me, as far as church locations, the way people were treating me different. It was really kind of changing my view on Christianity as a whole. I mean, I was really struggling because of it, because I mean, it's the concept that when you're at your lowest point, this is the time where you expect, like your brothers and so forth in Christ to come around you and circle around you. And instead their wives are telling them, get away from this guy. He's the plague. You don't want to, because women are afraid that it's like contagious. Like I get worse, and then he sees me out having fun, and now he wants one, and all that. So a lot of women married women will push their husbands away from a divorcee.
That is true.
In a heartbeat. And so I found that there was really no place to go religiously, I think, to find someone that would just pick me up and say, look, you're loved and you're great and just the way you are, and that kind of thing. So a friend of mine invited me to church, and I was like, look, I will come on a weekend where I don't have my daughter, because I have one thing I did in the divorce is I fought straight up to get my kid half the time. I believe that a child needs both parents, straight up needs both parents, and that's just the way I feel about it, and I'm very adamant about that. So whether I agree with what her mom does or says or whatever, I still think she needs to be there half the time. Whether she agrees with what I say, think, or feel, she needs to be with me half the time. She needs to see what my style of living is. She needs to see what her mom's style of living is, and that's the way it was intended. And so because of that, I went on a weekend where I didn't have her, and she was singing in the choir that Sunday, and it was funny because she had this Paris Eiffel Tower shirt, and my daughter has always been like really, really big on the whole Eiffel Tower thing, and anyway, so I just thought it was funny. So she had this Paris thing on, and then so she's up. And so I am hearing impaired. So this matters because this kind of has to do with how we ended up, a part of like how we met each other originally. So I'm sitting there and I've got my hand on this this seat, and it's one of those retractable seat deals.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did not know is that it was making a little squeak sound. So much so that apparently the pastor heard it at the pulpit and then just kind of stopped and just like faced over to me. And he didn't say nothing, but you could tell, you know, and then she realizes what's happening, reaches over and grabs the seat. And so that was like, after that, like she came with to the kick the tires thing that they did where the pastor comes up there and tells the thing. And I told her, I was like, was I making a noise? And she's like, you didn't hear that? I was like, no, I'm hearing impaired. And so I was like, by the way, I'm David, Tundrea. That's kind of how it like.
That's how we initially met.
Now, fast forward about 2 years.
Probably.
About 2 years later, we're talking. It was me, her, and another lady, and she mentions the concept of remarriage after divorce. And I am like, I don't think so. That's horrible. There's no way I would date.
No way I'm going to date. I'm not going to date until my daughter is 18.
No.
And And I'm like, okay, because I wasn't trying to step to you nowhere. So
no,
I was thinking. I'm like, okay, fine.
And so it was just, I had no intention whatsoever of dating. I just, I think there was a lot of pain there, but it was also just this concept of, do I really want to go down that road again? Mm-hmm. It's scary. It really is. And I know that women tend to be able to voice that, and then other people feel that. But men, I don't think, get the opportunity to say if something scares them. Like they're looked down upon just because they simply have an emotion. An emotion that everybody feels, but they don't get to say that because if they say it out loud, then they're just weak. And that's not okay. And I don't agree with that. I think it's something that we have to have a voice. Mm-hmm. We all have to have a voice. Mm-hmm. And that was one thing, we'll probably touch on this later, but in our marriage, that's something
So go back.
Yes. Okay.
Got to keep on track.
Yeah, she does have to. She has to keep me alone. All right. So the idea is that I had said no. You know, there's no way I'm gonna date again. And so I am pro gun. Straight up love guns. Just I pro gun all the way. And I also encourage gun safety. But anyway, so the concept behind it is that she informs me that she had just inherited a gun from Pops, which was
my stepdad. After he passed away, my mom gave me one of his guns. He had a bunch of them. She gave me one of his guns, and so I had the gun in the house, in the holster, in like a drawer or something. I didn't know if it was loaded. I didn't know anything about this thing. I just knew it was in my drawer and it was heavy. That's all I know.
She said, I have a gun. All I knew she had kids. I didn't know their ages. And so all I hear is single woman with kids and a gun in the house, and she doesn't even know if it's loaded. I flipped out. I'm like, here's my phone number. Like, here's my number. Call me. Please call me. Let me come over, take a look at this gun, and I want to walk you through it. I want to teach you everything you can know about this gun.
Yeah.
And because I firmly believe that if you own a gun, that somebody should have sat down with you and taught you everything there is to know about it. Period. Like you shouldn't own one if someone hasn't done that.
Yeah.
And so she and I were sitting on the front row. We had started kind of talking back and forth around that time.
Just as friends. Just, you see somebody at church, like, hey, how you doing? That was it.
Familiar now. You're familiar.
Familiar. Mm-hmm.
Now, meanwhile, and this is kind of funny, but every time they would do these music nights at our church, these worship nights. And every time they had one, the pastor would always, at some point in the night, say, pray with your neighbor. And we just always were neighbors. She was like either behind me, beside me, whatever. And neither one of us planned it. It just played out that way.
Sometimes.
I saw that Nick. Now, Tundrea is a planner, honey. She's strategic.
So, you know your friend. But no, there were sometimes, yeah. But if I saw him, I'd be like, okay, because he's cool people.
Uh-huh.
I thought he was cute too, so nothing wrong with that. But I already knew that he wasn't going to be dating, so I was like, okay, whatever, friend zone, fine. So I think it's friend zone type stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so we're at church, second row, and something had just happened at church. I was on the security team, and it was just an incident, and it was I was mad, and I kept thinking about how in the Bible it says that if you come before the altar and you have a problem with your brother, to go resolve it
Right. Yes.
before you come, and then they come back, leave your offering and come back. And so I was just like, I just stopped, and I was like, God, I can't do this. I need the forgiveness. I need to forgive. I need to just stop right here. And I said, I could really use a song that moves me, something like Reckless Love. And as soon as I said amen, the first few notes of Reckless Love started playing.
And that was the first time that the worship team had ever sung that song.
And I hit my knees and I was crying. I mean, it was just like God humbled me on the biggest level. It was like, what'd you ask for? Here it is.
Wow.
And it was just like, I felt everything. And it all just laid out right there. And I just like, during that time, I was just like, you know what? God, whatever you have for me, whatever it is, whatever the next chapter is, whatever direction you've got me going in, I'm ready for it. And at that exact moment, this hand comes down onto my shoulder while I'm down on my knees. And I look up and it's her. And like 2 days later, she sends me this meme that she had created that says the most beautiful thing she's ever seen is a man completely humble himself before God.
And I posted that on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I sent it to him because I remember that he had given me his number for the gun. And so I posted it on Facebook, and then I took a picture of it and I sent it to him. And that was the very first text I ever sent him. And I said, I posted this about you.
Yeah.
And I sent him that. And then we just started texting back and forth. And she
told me she needed her yard mowed.
Yeah, I need my yard mowed because it had grown up like a jungle. And so he came over and he said, well, I can do it he said, I can do it for you. And I'm like, okay, so how much you charge? Because I wouldn't want to I had to pay somebody to come out there. I don't want you to run to some snakes and kill yourself or whatever. I got to pay somebody to do this.
There were snakes, by the way.
I'm sure there were. So anyway, there were for real? Oh, Lord. Anyway. Okay, so he came over to mow my yard, and I looked up and I was like, when I got home, it was raining, but he was still out there in the rain cutting my yard. And I was like, whoa, that is wow. And so when he got finished, he came in and he reminded I showed him the gun, my pop's gun once again. And so I'll talk about the gun, whatever. And then he left, and then
it wasn't loaded, just so everybody knows, because that was
gun loaded. So we started just texting, just back and forth, and just texting back and forth, and the conversation and friendship and everything. It just grew, and here we are.
So, Tundrea, tell me about the first date.
First date. Okay. We've been texting, and so David was cooking something, and he showed me, he sent me a picture of it, and it was some chicken Alfredo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that looks good, because it did. It looked really, really good. And I was like, okay, so sharing is caring. Hello. And he's like, well, if you want some, come on over. So, and I can fix your plate. So I went over, and I ate his famous chicken Alfredo. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is okay. Our dates were always surrounded by food. I would come over, and he would cook, and then we would start. He would get
Blue Apron,
those little dinner boxes,
those kind of things.
So he started ordering those, and then we would cook them together. He would mainly cook. I'd help, whatever, because yeah. So
but I don't like sharing kitchens.
So when he's cooking, that's it. You just give him room to do his thing.
Okay.
And we started just fixing little meals together on the weeks that he didn't have Kayla, because he had Kayla every other week. By weekends, he has her every other week. Mm-hmm. And it was that's what our dates were.
Matter of fact, our first real date was June 1st.
Yes, that was our first real date. And
it was still at the house.
Still at the house.
But our first real date, it was June 1st, chicken Alfredo. And I was just like, I don't know, what we're doing, but we need to determine what that is and whatever that's going to be, and then we'll go from there. And so
we made it official.
Mm-hmm. So we were like, okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna see where this goes. We both believed. We both believed in the concept that if you are in a relationship with someone, that it's courtship.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't believe in dating unless it is a means to an end. And so I don't believe in sleeping around. I don't believe any of that kind of stuff, because that, to me, when you do that, you share part of your soul with someone. Mm-hmm. And they come with you in whatever future you have after that. So it's weird, but so that was kind of the big thing for us. Was she came to me, I guess we had been dating about a month at that point, and she said, and of course, Jesus has his hand and a sense of humor. So we go into church on Sunday, and the pastor is like, all right, so
we're going to start this new series.
We're going to start this new series on honoring God in your relationship. Straight up. Like, we've been in a relationship for like 3 weeks, and they start this series. And so, like,
no one knew that we were dating.
Not at that point.
Not at that point.
Because we kind of kept it a secret, because we didn't want my daughter to find out until we were ready for her to be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, they do this series, and one of the things that he talks about is honoring God in your relationship sexually. And so she came to me and she said, I want to honor God in our relationship, and I want to make sure that you're on board with that. And I said, I do. And so the next Sunday after the service, we went forward, got with the pastor, and said, okay, we want this to be, we want accounting, or we want, and I'm not saying it right.
What, like accountability?
We want an accountability partner, and we want you to be that person. And so,
because he was like, y'all dating? What? Y'all dating? Yeah. We were like, yep.
We're dating, and we want to honor God in our relationship. And so we did. Matter of fact, the first French kiss was at the altar.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because before then, we had only just done a little peck, little half a second, little peck kisses, for like, what? We did what? A year?
Almost
year and a half, something like that.
Year and a half. Okay,
And
so we started June 1st and we got married February 29th. So
of 2020, yeah. So we started dating in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So just shy of 2 years.
Yeah. But our first real kiss was at the altar after we said I do.
Man.
Yeah. And we were talking about, the whole relationship thing and beginning dating process or whatever. And before we officially started dating, and before we even did anything along those lines, I had basically just given up. I was like, I'm done, because I, tried dating, and it was ridiculous. I was sick of just games and just foolishness and just, and I'm not a game plan type of person. So I just couldn't understand what was going on. Just the whole mentality of stuff is just getting on all my nerves. And I was like, I'm done. I'm sick of this. And at the time I was looking for a job because I had been laid off from my old job at Bayer. I had a pretty good severance package. So I was able to be off work for like a year and a half or something. So it was time to start looking for a job. And I'm like, okay, I'll find something easily. No problem. It was so hard for me to find a job. And I was like, okay, Lord, I'm done and I can't find work. So guess what? I'm ready to go. So I was ready to leave Memphis and move back home to live with my mom in Greenville. And she was like, okay, well, she didn't tell me to just, start, dividing some stuff up and just getting rid of some things so it won't be so hard to, pack up whatever. And I was literally about to start doing that. But there was one last job that I had applied for. And I was like, Lord, if this works out, if I'm meant to be in Memphis, because I was leaving Memphis. And I was like, if it's meant for me to be here, then let this work out. Just open the doors if it's meant. If I don't hear anything back from these folks by Friday, I'm packing and I'm leaving. That Friday I got a phone call. Oh, I want to offer you the position here. I was like, well, I guess I'm staying. That was May. That was like May 7th, right before we started talking.
So 2 weeks later, right as she had just started, like that 1 week. That was the Sunday that that I ended up on my knees. So like it was the next Sunday. So it was one Sunday after she got the job that I ended up on my knees.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was like the timing was there. Now I had when I first when my divorce was legal and everything was finalized and all that stuff, because it was a long divorce. The guys in my men's group at the church we go to now, because this group really does come around you, and these men really do surround you, and they are there and they listen. Mm-hmm. And so unlike the other churches that I was at. And so, but these men came to me and said, okay, look, we're going to put a timeline. And there was a year timeline, like you by yourself, celibate, away from, women, just focus on your life, you and you as a person and your kid for 1 year. And so that year ended on June 1st, the day we started dating.
Gee whiz.
Just like everything in our relationship has really it's been very like in line and when you look back at it, it's like, okay, had that been a week earlier, or had that been a week later, or a month earlier, or a month later, it wouldn't have worked out.
Yep.
And in even our wedding.
Even with the wedding. Oh,
I have.
God. Wait till you hear this.
I have reoccurring dreams with my parents. So both my parents have passed away. My mother passed away on December 29th, 2009. My father passed away November 5th, 2011. So just shy of 2 years apart from each other. They both passed away, and I was super, super close with them. Of course, with the military, you lose all your friends, so your family means everything. And so both my parents passed away, and it crushed me as a whole. But I have recurring dreams with them, and it's just in my dream. For whatever reason, they faked their deaths, and now they're alive, and they have a house, and I know what the house looks like and everything else.
Wow.
And so I was in that process of considering asking her to marry me, looking at rings, that whole concept. And in my dream, one of my parents looked at me and they're like, "You got to get married on leap year." And I was like, "No, that's cheesy. And I would never do that." And so I just kind of mocked the idea in the dream. And I remember that. And then I woke up and I looked. First thing I did is I pulled my calendar up and I looked. And sure enough, that was a Saturday. The likelihood, it's only on a Saturday every 6 years. Or 28 years, sorry. It's only on a Saturday every 28 years. And it just so happened to fall on a Saturday. Well, then on December 29th, she had to have surgery.
Yeah, I've been having some serious problems.
And it was a major lady surgery.
Tumor. I had lady surgery. I had tumors and on my ovaries. And they had to, it was bad.
So she comes out of surgery on December 29th. We know that at that point we've already decided we're going to get married on leap year because the dream and several other things, but it just worked out. Let's put it there.
Oh, so he asked me to marry him on my show.
Oh, yes.
On my radio show. Live awesome. There in front of God and everybody.
Not just asked her, but her daughter was there, her son was there, my son was there, my daughter was there. Two of her best friends were there.
Yes.
And then of course Gerald and then the audience or the people that were being interviewed and everything.
The guests were there.
And I walked up to the guests because they were outside smoking, and I was like, "Look, I am sorry. On ahead of time, I never got the opportunity to talk to you ahead of time, so I apologize, but I'm going to take part of your time." And they're like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I'm about to ask her to marry me." And they're like, "I'm in. I'm game. I want to be part of it." And so they were super excited. So we, December 29th, she has her surgery, and she is supposed to go back to work mid-January. And she goes back. She's at work maybe a day or two.
Maybe.
And then her body just completely rejects everything. And she goes dark in the house, can't do anything, can't move, can't do anything. And so
intense it was pain. It was bad.
It was that way all the way into February. And then we get midway through February, or I guess it's about a week into February, and we call a friend of ours from church, and she's known for doing some healing in the past, I think, kind of.
Well, just helping you to holistic type of stuff, like juicing and what I'm saying, just trying to get. So this woman was juicing big cups and bottles of carrot juice for me, organic carrot juice, and that's the only thing that I could ingest. That was and I was struggling just to do that. And so just to get some nutrients in my body, because I felt like I was just shutting down. And that was maybe a week, about
2 weeks before the wedding.
2 weeks before the wedding, and I was like, I just wanted to get just well enough
to be able to be in a wheelchair to come down the aisle.
Yeah, I was like, do I just need? Are they gonna have to just roll me down the aisle? I mean, I didn't know. It was just that bad.
I had already called the cruise for our honeymoon and had been discussing what it was going to take to get my money back. Matter of fact, we had already talked about the fact that we were going to cancel the cruise. And so almost exactly a week before the wedding, because of the juicing, she was on her feet. She was walking. She was fully functional.
Getting my strength back.
That was on by Sunday. So Saturday, the Saturday before the wedding, she was still, not doing very well, but she was getting better. By that Sunday, she was at that point of functionality. By Monday, she was good to go. And so,
so I had less than a week to start getting ready for my wedding. Thankfully, my mom had been there. My mom and
my sister. My sister came in on Monday.
Oh God, Lord, thank you, Christy. Christy was helping, and my wedding planners were Ashanti Johnson and Jennifer Montgomery. So they were there helping out with everything else, but I wasn't able to do anything. The only thing I was able to do was put on my dress. That was the only thing that I was able that I could do, and get my hair done the day of the wedding.
And so we have our wedding. We go on our honeymoon, and we come back. We get back here. We go to church that Sunday.
Oh yeah.
That Sunday we went to church. That was the last Sunday that we had church. COVID happened. They did a full shutdown, and the cruise line, the people that went on the cruise the day we got off, they got back and nobody else went back out. So literally, had we gotten married 1 week before, she wouldn't have been able to walk down the aisle. And had we got married 1 week later, we would not have gone on our cruise. And so everything worked out.
Everything has worked out.
The actual ceremony, I forgot the ring. Oh my gosh. And just so happens. I didn't know any of this. Just so happens her dad and myself had the same ring size.
What?
Because his best man, Brian, had asked him, he was like, they were at, from what I've heard, he asked, they were at the altar. Brian was like, so where's the ring? David said, in the safe at home. We're supposed to get married like in the next few minutes, whatever.
5 to 7 minutes, somewhere in there. We'd already been given the countdown.
Yep. And so Jennifer and Ashanti run all over church asking random men, so what? Can I see your ring? Can I see your finger? Yeah, are you wearing a ring? Does your ring? Will your ring fit, David? I mean, it was just.
Crazy. I have big hands.
He has. Big hands. He's like 6'7". So yes. And at the very last minute, he looked over at my dad. It's my biological father. Looked over at my dad and was like, "Can I borrow your ring?" Dad took it off, and it fit him perfectly.
So we're standing there at the altar, and my daughter was a ring bearer, and so they ask her for the rings, and she hands Tundrea the ring, and my actual wedding band had symbolism, turkey. So my ring came from Istanbul, Turkey. So I had custom ordered this ring from Istanbul, Turkey, and it's a puzzle ring. So, I mean, it was an obvious ring. You would have seen this ring. You would have known, okay, this is the ring. And so when she saw this ring, she was like, the pastor's like, so you give this ring? And she's like, looking at the ring going, yeah, I'm sure.
And then I was like, okay. And I didn't know, because I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this is his dad's ring. I didn't know. I'm at the altar. I know nothing. With this strange ring in my hand. And so I just like, well, here you go. All right, I'll play. I had no, but I didn't know any of this was going on. I had no idea.
Wow. So Tundrea, tell me this. Let me say this. Y'all have a lot of fans over here. They are really in tears, clapping, crying.
Aww.
But what do you like most about him?
What I like most about his sense of humor.
Yeah.
He has the best sense of humor, and it's one of those where it's like, even if you're in a bad mood, he's gonna try his best to make you smile. Even when you don't want to smile, you don't want to be happy, but he's like, he's just all up in your face, just trying to get you to smile, trying to get you. And his thing is like, if he's give me just this one little smile, then I'm okay.
It's over.
It's over. It's like, that's it.
You can't hold it. If I can get her to crack it just a little bit, she'll be rolling on the floor within 30 seconds, and I know it.
And I could have been ticked off to all degrees a minute ago, and just Well, it's his sense of humor, seriously, because he's funny and he's so sarcastic. Yes, so it takes a whole different kind of breed to deal with all that. So yes, I love his sense of humor.
David, same question. What do you love most about her?
This one's easy. So everybody that the first person who said it was my nephew. So they live in Jacksonville, but they had come up to visit. We had been dating for about 6 months, and he comes in and he said, "Uncle David, you're happy. Like, it is so incredible to see you happy. Like the idea of that, like I, as a person, had completely changed overall." She says, I have a great sense of humor. I love to make people laugh. Everything else, all that had stopped. I'd quit doing that. I'd quit. My joy was gone. I was just trying to survive and make sure that I raised a good kid. I was trying to be the best father I could be.
He's an amazing daddy.
But I just wanted, I wanted to do that right. And so I was just constantly concentrated on making sure I didn't make mistakes and doing what was right and what was best for my kid. And so for her, she makes me a better person. Like, you don't realize how much it means when somebody just looks at you and says, "You're an amazing dad," or says that you're an amazing cook, or that you make me laugh, or you make me happy, or that you're just a good person all in all, and that, I look forward to being around you, and hey, you're attractive, and boy, I like those jeans, and just little things, but those little things, you add them all up and they mean everything, because one of the biggest problems we have in our society is that women expect men to be this was it Ephesians 5 man, where Jesus loved the church so much, and the church was his bride, and they expect this man to be this leader, and they expect this man to do all these things and to be this great power, but a man needs a woman to get him there, but he needs to be there. It's a balance thing to me. It's kind of like she has to be that Proverbs 31 woman, and I have to be that Ephesians 5 man. And if we aren't, then this isn't going to work. I can't expect her to be a Proverbs 31 woman if I'm not an Ephesians 5 man. I can't expect her to follow me if I'm not following him. If she can't feel comfortable in the path that I'm going to walk her down, then how can I expect her to follow me? How can I expect her to have my back? How can I expect her to trust whatever comes out of my mouth? And so that was very important in our relationship. And to me, she does that. She gives me the confidence that my mother gave me growing up. My mom always made me feel loved. I always knew that I was loved. I knew that I was cared for. I knew that I was important. I knew that I was special. I didn't question that. My mother made sure of that. And she does that. And so it's, I crave that. I do. I love it. And it's like, for me, you said that she's always got that smile and that joy, and she does. She is, no doubt. She is, her joy. I feed off of that. It's like a little beacon. But I can tell, like when things change, when something happens or the slightest thing starts to change, I'm over here going, okay, what's going on? What's on your mind? When you're feeling, start speaking. Let me know what's going on.
That's been my own little obstacle thing, because I'm so used to when I would have to just do things on my own and do things myself. I would always, if something like bothered me, I would internalize it and in my own way just deal with it, eventually let it go, and I'll be okay. But you can only do that for just so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then with David, when he sees that I'm upset or it seems as if I want to say something, but I don't. It's mainly because for so many years in my previous marriage, I never really had a voice. I couldn't really express what I was really feeling, because my attention was always on keeping the peace and making sure that everything was peaceful in the home and that sort of thing. So I never really spoke out. And when I did start to speak out, and I equated it to growing a backbone, then that's when things start to go south. But with David, he encourages me to express my feelings and to say what's on my mind and say what's upsetting me, and not just, if he asks me what's going on, I'm like, I'm nothing, or I'm fine. Woo, he can't stand when I do that. He hates it when I do that. And even if I'm like, okay, I'm fine, meaning what I'm going through, I don't think is that big of a deal, but for him, it is a big deal, the small things.
Because the joy went away. I can see it. There's a physical change that takes place, and I can see it, and I don't like that. I feed off of that joy, and if it's gone, my tank gets empty fast, and I know that, and I have to make sure that I'm on it. So I said, kind of referenced this earlier, but I'm bringing it back. So she's spoken about her voice. When we were in marriage counseling, one of the questions was asked to her, what was the most important part, most important aspect of the marriage? So for her, it was having a voice. It was having her voice, feeling like she had a voice, knowing that she could speak. And so we developed something kind of like the golden ticket, and it's called Ouch. And it's very simple. It's just you say the word ouch. But the concept is that you say ouch, everything halts. If there's an argument, there's a discussion, there's anything, whatever's going on, if you're walking out the door, getting ready to go somewhere, if you've said the word ouch, the other person gets a moment to collect their feelings, their thoughts. They get a chance to breathe. They get a chance to calm down. And then they have to issue it and say, okay, speak. And then at that point, the person who says ouch gets to speak what is on their mind, and the two of you talk out why they felt the ouch, validate the feeling, realize where it came from, and face it together as a team. I mean, you're partners. And so with your partner, you face it together and you figure out, the direction of where you went wrong and what you can do to fix it. And it helps eliminate a lot of the arguing, because if there is an argument, a lot of times during the argument, you want to find a way to fix it. You want to just stop it. You just want, when you say ouch, it stops. The argument's over. There is no longer an argument. Now there's a discussion.
Yeah, because at some point you have felt as if it's almost, for me, it's like if I get to a point and we're going back and forth, we don't argue, so to speak, but we will have discussions, and we know that we don't have to agree with each other. We know that. But if a discussion happens where it starts to get like a little, you get a little starting to feeling your emotions come up, and your emotions start getting tied to it, and your feelings get hurt, then for me, I'm like, okay, ouch. And at that point, he stops. We both stop. And we're like, okay. What was it that caused that ouch? What was said? What do we need to work out? And then at that point, you start to move those feelings out of the way and get to the actual discussion of what's going on and what was it that made you feel that way? Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot.
It's been very helpful.
You know how a lot of couples say you should never argue in front of your kids and all this stuff? I totally believe in that, by the way. But the other day, I said something kind of snappy. I had just come off of work. I said something kind of snappy. She said, ouch. We were in the kitchen. My daughter was in the room. And I instituted my breath. All right, speak. She spoke, told me what was going on. We worked out what was going on. Mostly, I was tired. I was frustrated. I had just gotten off work, and I heard her making excuses. And she wasn't making excuses. She was just trying to explain something to me. But I heard one thing, and she was saying another. And so we were able to quickly take care of that. She was able to know what, I was able to understand what the true intent was. She was able to understand what the true intent was. We were able to quickly fix that.
Yeah.
And my daughter saw it all. And I was like, that's an example of how you resolve an issue. That is how a couple handles things.
With respect for each other, without the raising of voices and without just, getting totally indignant and everything. We showed her that that's how grown folks handle stuff. How you're supposed to handle things.
It's the proper way to handle something, at least to us in a marriage.
Yeah.
We haven't, I can't really say that we've ever fought. We've never really fought. We've had some disagreements.
We've had disagreements, yes. But now anyone who knows me knows that I'm not about to argue with anybody anyway.
My daughter, I love that.
Because my thing is, if I've given you my opinion, then you giving me yours, and I've heard what you said, and you heard what I said. If you don't agree with what I'm saying, I'm like, okay. As long as you heard me.
That's right.
I heard you, and we understand what each other's saying, that's fine. But if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's it. I'm good. My response is like, okay. And okay, baby.
She has an ironclad okay. So, it is the most annoying thing in the world. And my daughter and I, we banter. Like that is something that's our relationship. It's something that
they go back and forth.
She struggles with it because she can't tell the difference between us fighting or us just being us sometimes. And I'm realizing now that that line's a little gray sometimes. So I need to do a better job of making it more obvious, but it's just my daughter and I have always been that way, and we tend to banter back and forth, and so she won't do that with her at all. Like she'll say something and as a trigger, like would be a trigger for anyone else, but for her, okay, that's it. And so
that's it.
My daughter just kind of looks at it and says, I can't argue with her.
That's it.
And she doesn't.
That's it. Last question, guys, because you all have given so much beautiful advice and inspiration to so many.
Aww.
Okay, so since both of you all, if I can say this, have come from a broken place, what advice would you give a woman that was on a point of giving up because of the silliness and the foolishness, and a gentleman who's gone through a hard divorce, just ready to humble himself? What advice would you give them? Because you all coming together was divine, period.
It was. The advice that I would give would be, when you come out of it, and you will, take time for yourself. You have to learn who you are, learn yourself, be able to make yourself happy without needing someone else to make you happy.
Yeah.
And also you need to learn forgiveness. You need to learn how to forgive yourself if you need to. You also need to learn that not just because you were in a bad relationship or a bad situation with someone, that does not mean that every other man is going to be like that man. I'm very thankful that I don't have that I have David, because he is a daily reminder to me that men are different. And just because you were in a bad situation once before or twice or 3 times or whatever, there is someone for you. I used to always hear people talk about, well, just wait, just be patient. He'll be here. He'll come. And I'm like, whatever. But lo and behold, it happened.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it would. I really didn't. So there's hope for anyone who's out there who's waiting. There is hope for you. Don't give up. You don't have to pack up and move like I almost did. But in the meantime, while you're waiting, you need to just make sure that you love yourself, do what you love to do what interests you. And then that way you won't be lonely. Yeah, at times you'll be alone sometimes, but you won't be lonely.
David?
Don't be in a hurry.
Period.
Don't be in a hurry. The biggest problem I think that people do is I heard a story today from a guy was talking about a girl that he had dated and how she has gone from broken relationship to broken relationship to broken relationship, literally cheating on people and so forth. And the whole concept is that she just did not want to be alone. And so she was already lining up the next one before she let the first one go. And the concept of just not being in a hurry and not settling something that's not where you need to be. It was funny because we talked about this several times, and it's probably the most solid advice I've ever gotten from anyone. It was from Medea. And Medea was talking about seasons, how not every person in your life is meant to be there forever. They're not meant to be the branch. They're not meant to be the root. They're not meant to be the trunk. They're just a branch or a leaf. And too many times we try to marry the root or make someone a root that's only a leaf. And they're not. You need to be able to determine who's supposed to be with you for the long haul and who's supposed to be with you for the short time. Because God is allowing people in your life to be in your life to help you grow and shape you and mold you. But there's only so much that they can give you until they become a drain. And you have to remember that if someone, I think the biggest thing for me is to know that my kids have said it, my family have said it, I am a better person because she's in my life. And so I get more than I give for the first time in my life, I've got someone who gives me more than I give them. Everybody always wants from me.
Yeah.
They want money from me. They want time from me. They want me to fix something. They want me to make something better. They want me to move something. They want me to whatever. And I've always been that way. I'm a very, very giving person, and I try to help out as many people as I can. And so it's always been a big thing for me. I try to do for others. And she gives me more. So that is a recognizable trait, something you need to look for in a woman. Realize if you're not becoming a better person because of her, then she's not there to make you a better person. And if that's the case, she's not there for long term.
Ooh, she's a leaf.
She's a leaf.
She's a leaf. She's a leaf.
I need to listen. Because I got so caught up, my computer's dying. But I have to say, you all were worth the wait. You all were worth the wait. Your energy, your conversation, your transparentness about just who you are and where you were and where you are now. You have warmed my heart. I promise. No joke. I love love. And you all just really, really done such a wonderful, I can't speak for nobody else, but for me, you have really blessed my spirit. So please, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Years and years and years and years of more love and prosperity. I really do.
Thank you. This has been so much fun. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for inviting us. We appreciate it. Love your show.
Yes, I love y'all. Thank you again.
Thank you, honey.
David, so nice to meet you. You are Jim.
Same here.
You are a Jim, sir.
A Jim. Aww. He is.
Thank you. I love y'all.
Love you too, honey.
Bye-bye. Bye. Y'all, I don't even have an ending. I don't even have anything. I don't have anything to say. I really don't. If you never believed in love, if you never believed that God, universe was working in your behalf, these two right here, they are living proof of it. So whatever you're waiting on, plant that seed and be patient. Be patient and be able to recognize the root from the leaf. David, I'm taking that through 2021, baby. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing with me. Shows like this is why I do what I do. Peace, love, and keep waiting. It's okay. Keep waiting. Keep waiting. Your time is coming. Have a great night, y'all.